I've always thought you were an embarrassment. Why don't you head back to the sticks? She sneered, taking a dig at my humble farming roots. My mother-in-law scoffed. In that moment, something in me just had enough. Oh, and about the $500,000 my folks chipped in to help your husband's company? I'd like that back now. Hi, I'm Karen, a 34-year-old gal living the housewife life. I've been married to Kevin, my guy, for a couple of years. We had one of those group dates. We're the same age and sparks flew, and the connection was instant. We swapped numbers and started hanging out solo. A few great dates in, we're official. Our love story blossomed, filled with plenty of Instagram-worthy moments. About a year in, he got all romantic and popped the question.
Karen, I see forever with you. Will you marry me?
I've been dreaming of that forever too. Let's dive into this adventure together. And that was our let's do this moment. Fun fact, I was just standing in for a friend on that group date. Talk about fate, right? Life's full of surprises. After sealing our getting hitched pact, it was time for the family intros. First stop was my folks. They're out in the countryside living that farmer life. Kevin and I hopped on a train soaking in all the nature vibes.
Gosh, look at that.
I know, right?
Even trip home feels like a mini retreat. Nothing but good vibes.
He was totally vibing with my hometown and its charm. And when we got to my place, his jaw dropped.
Whoa, massive farm. And the veggies are top notch.
You've got a keeper, Karen. My folks were instantly Team Kevin. There was a big old family feast and everything. Warmed my heart seeing him gel with my folks. Round 2 was Kevin's family. Holy moly, that house is mansion level. I blurted, having heard stories about his business tycoon dad and city digs, but I was not expecting this.
Feels a bit over the top if you ask me.
I mean, it's a showstopper.
Nah, your farm's the real star.
Apples and oranges, I laughed. Mid-banter, the door swung open. Hello there, came his mom, Mary. Hello, I'm Karen. I'm Mary, Kevin's mom, she said, exuding the CEO energy. A tad intimidated, I followed her into this ritzy, chic living room.
So, you're the famous Karen.
Scott, his dad, greeted warmly. Hello, nice to meet you. I smiled back, his chill vibes making things easy breezy.
Have a seat,
he probed.
So, how'd you two lovebirds meet? Blind group date.
Oh, how millennial. While Scott was cool about it, Mary, not so much. Sounds unconventional, no? And your family does farming. They're farmers? Kevin jumped in.
Yeah, Mom. They've got this sprawling farm. The place is amazing. I think I fell in love.
Scott was all smiles, but Mary, not having it. She's a farmer. That won't fly here. Excuse me? My heart sank. Kevin was fuming.
Mom, seriously?
Scott tries to mediate.
What's the issue with farming?
But she went on. Our families are from different worlds.
Why do you always say things like that? You need to stop worrying about differences in social standing.
These things matter. I don't want you mistakenly thinking you're rich now that you're marrying into this family. Let me make it clear. Our family is affluent and noble. To marry into this family, one needs to be of a certain caliber. I wonder, do you even measure up? She said, glaring intently at me and speaking in a scolding manner.
Seriously, who do you think you are?
But... Scott wasn't having any of it, and she quieted down.
Look, Karen, I apologize.
He tried to mend things, but you could cut the tension with a knife. Kevin, being Kevin, tried to steer the ship back to happier waters, and Scott and I played along, attempting to lighten things up. It worked to an extent, but Mary, not a peep from her. I was honestly just thankful for Scott being a stand-up guy. With that on my mind, I headed home with Kevin.
Hey, sorry about my mom's vibe today. She's usually a lot cooler.
I get it. Maybe she's just wigging out about her baby boy tying the knot. Her words had stung, no doubt, but I wasn't about to write her off over one rough patch. So, I let it slide. Fast forward to the formal family intros. Probably because of what Scott or Kevin might have said, Mary kept to herself. She looked a bit off, which bugged me. Later on, my folks were like, "Did we rub her the wrong way or something?" "You guys were total pros, promise." It convinced them all was well. The big day came and went, wedding bells, friends, fam, the whole shebang. Then enter married life. I took on the housewife role. He'd once said he'd love for me to focus on our nest. Plus, I had a hankering to pitch in on the family farm. So I'd head to my folks' place a few days a week, lending a hand.
"Oh, are we doing ratatouille tonight?"
"Yep, almost done."
"Sweet."
That'd be my hubs, peeking out over dinner as he shed the 9-to-5 attire.
"This is the bomb. Your family's veggies? Next level."
"Well, they're basically the local veggie celebs."
"For sure."
He nodded in appreciation. I mean, not to toot our own horn, but our produce is a big deal. Supermarkets, corner stores, even posh eateries, they're all about our goods. Our family's a pretty big operation, lots of folks on board. So when it comes to our crop quality, yeah, I'm proud. And Kevin loving it? That's a given.
You know, I'd totally jump in on the family farm action.
You would? What about your dad's empire?
We'll make it work. Dad hasn't roped me into his biz.
Oh? I had no clue what the father-son duo discussed, but it warmed my heart knowing Kevin valued our roots. Life was pretty rosy from there, except for one pesky thorn. Mary. She'd drop by. A lot. "Karen, is this your idea of clean? Because, yikes." I'd break my back cleaning, and she'd still find that one elusive dust bunny. Oops, might have overlooked that. Rather than getting into it, I just nod and take it. It probably made her day. I brushed it off initially, but her pop-ins, they started wearing on me. Didn't want to dump it on Kevin, but it was getting to be too much. So I looped him in.
"She's here, how often?"
I tried playing it cool, but it's just a lot.
"You don't need that drama. I'll handle it. And hey, you don't owe her an open door."
Thank you. It meant the world he had my back. He had a word with Mary and gave Scott a heads up. After getting an earful from both her boys, Mary's surprise visits were history. Peace at last. But there was this one annual cloud on my sunny days. Christmas. Big family dinner at the in-laws. I'd pitch in, but it meant facing off with Mary. When Scott and Kevin were out of earshot, she had no problem letting me have it. "Just because you've got Scott and Kevin in your corner doesn't mean you're big time now. Remember, you come from humble beginnings. Now could you fetch the wine?" She'd hurl these jabs as we got things ready in the kitchen. I tried to shake it off, but man, it stung getting dissed right to my face. Plus, she loved to talk smack about me to the relatives. Honestly, she's so out of her depth as a wife. Probably because she's got that farm girl vibe. I'd see some relatives smirking, and honestly, I couldn't tell if they were laughing with her or at me. My first 2 Christmases married into this family were a total replay of this scene. So the upcoming Christmas was not high on my list. Meanwhile, trouble was brewing with Scott's business. Turns out his right-hand guy had been pocketing company funds. The fallout was that his company name got dragged through the mud and sales tanked. Kevin and I were super stressed about the whole thing. It wasn't even Scott's fault. "How's your dad holding up?"
"It's rough. The company's drowning in debt."
"Seriously?" I wanted to chip in, so I touched base with my folks, who were all in to help. They stepped up, pouring $500,000 into Scott's sinking ship. The gratitude from him was palpable. He vowed he'd always remember the assist. Kevin then dove into the family business too, working his tail off with his dad to turn things around. Their elbow grease paid off, with the company bouncing back to its glory days and even bagging some new deals. Things were looking up, and I was stoked for Scott's comeback. But Mary? Yup, she was back at it. Out of the blue, she buzzes me to come over. Glad you could make it. Mary, what was so important that you had me rush over? Let's chat over here. She steers me towards a bunch of women chilling at the dining table. Ladies, this is Karen, Kevin's better half. They all eyeballed me. Your turn, Karen. Spit it out. Why are you so shy? I got a laugh track from the gals for that one. Totally thrown, I managed a timid, Hi, I'm Karen. Ah, you're such a wallflower. Speak up. While you're at it, make some coffee, will ya? She had this smug look as she kicked back in her chair. So she wrote me in just to razz me and play waitress? Cold. After doing the coffee bit, she plopped me down beside her and started in with more jabs. Our little farm girl here, she's so green. Honestly, I wish Kevin had aimed higher. More laughter from her clique. Seriously, what's their deal? Did they just live for this kind of drama? Eventually, she was over the show and tell. Alright, Karen, you can head out. Excuse me? Don't just sit there like you belong here. Honestly, I've always felt you're more suited for the sticks than here. Then she threw in a laugh for good measure. That was it. I was done. Oh, and about the $500,000 my folks chipped in to help your husband's company? I'd like that back now. Excuse me? She looked like she'd been slapped. You knew about the company issues, right? Yeah, but didn't my Kevin and Scott turn it all around? They hustled for sure, but the company was on life support. It was my family's cash that gave it a fighting chance. You're kidding, right? Clearly, she wasn't in the loop. Or maybe she just never bothered to find out. So are you fibbing just because I made fun of you? Believe it or not, that's on you. But hey, give your husband a shout. He'll vouch for me. A farm having that kind of money? No way. Hey, don't underestimate our farm. We got a deal with that fancy French place, you know? Le Bouchon? Whoa, the Le Bouchon? One of the gals piped up, her eyes bugging out. Yes, that's the one. Mary, seriously? You badmouthed the heir to that place? Especially after they tossed a lifeline to your hubby's business? Way over the line. Totally. From what she's sharing, she's not the monster-in-law you painted. You just wanted to vent and made up stories, huh? That's a real low blow, Mary. The ladies were out of their seats, looking pretty ticked. Hey, don't bounce on me. She tried, but they headed out, not giving her a second glance. This mess is all on you. How is this my fault? You set this whole scene up to have a laugh at my expense. Enough from you. A daughter-in-law should know her place. Enough's enough. I'm done taking your jabs. By the way, I hit record when the roasting session started today. Say what now? I'll let Scott and Kevin give it a listen. Hold up. If they hear that, there's gonna be hell to pay. They probably won't be thrilled. Come on, give me a break. I'm sorry. I think that ship has sailed. Suddenly, the door swung open.
What's going on here?
What? Why are you here, honey?
Got a text from Karen. She said you played her in front of her crew.
I didn't. I hit play on the recording. Scott's face turned thunderous.
Are you out of your mind? Karen's the reason my company's still afloat. And seriously, ragging on your daughter-in-law? Plus, always making me drop big bucks on fancy digs. I'm done with you. I want out.
What will I do without you?
Your problem, not mine.
With the D word hanging in the air, Mary lost it. Later, even Kevin was livid and cut ties with her. So, Mary got served with divorce papers and the boot from the house. Rumor has it, she's scraping by in some cheap digs, working some side gig. True to form, she's still trying to live the high life and is sinking in debt. But we've washed our hands of the drama. Meanwhile, my hubby and I are living the dream, even expecting a little one. Maybe it's the marry-free zone. We welcomed a healthy girl, and life's pretty sweet. We hang with Scott and often catch up with my folks. All in all, life's good, and I'm looking forward to the days ahead with my little family.